Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. Today is Sunday, May 29th, and this is the MLB DFS video for today. So, in today's video, we'll be taking a quick look back at yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out, talking about my core picks for the FanDuel main slate for today, as well as my top GPP stacks for my article over at WeBetATS.com. Unfortunately, that article is not published yet since I am recording this video very early in the morning, but I will talk about my stacks regardless, and then once that link is up, I will post it down in the comments as well. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. At the pitcher position, we had Tony Gonsolin, $9,800, got to 43 points, so he was ahead, and he was the third overall pitcher on the slate yesterday. The only two pitchers that were ahead of him, I believe, were Garrett Cole and Sandy Alcantara. So Garrett Cole drew a bunch of ownership yesterday. I was kind of hoping he'd fail, and then that make Tony Gonsolin look a little bit better, but unfortunately that was not the case. Then we move down to first baseman, Dominic Smith, $2,200, 3.5 points. Gave him a push yesterday. He had the RBI, but nothing else, so can't say too much there. Then Jose Abreu, who was our fill-in after Marwin Gonzalez got ruled out, $3,000, got 6 points. He was a push. Nothing too special here, but not a bad day either. Then we move down to the outfield with Starling Marte once again, $3,400, 12.2 points. He was a hit, and dude's been hitting the ball very well as of late. It was a really good matchup for him as well. Then last but not least, we have Nick Castellanos, $3,300, got to 9.2 points, so he was ahead as well. Not quite the big upside day we were hoping for with him, but a solid day nonetheless. So overall, obviously we like the day to be a little bit better, but we still had 3 hits, 2 pushes. Not a bad day by any means. And if you had some other solid plays along with this core, you had a good chance of cashing yesterday. It was a little bit higher scoring for some of the games that were on there. There was a couple of different Texas players that did score a bunch of points, especially hitter-wise. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my court picks for today. So we're going to start off at the pitcher position with Sonny Gray, $8,800, averaging just under 31 fantasy points per game on the season. Obviously pitched very, very well the last time out. Goes against the Kansas City Royals today. Should be a favorable matchup for him, so definitely have a lot of interest once again. The one thing I will say about him today is I expect his ownership to be just a little bit higher since he did have that good start the last time out. If you want to get off of that and go to Tristan McKenzie, that's definitely a possibility. You could go to Miles Mikolas. There's a couple different options today that you could pivot to if you really want to in that same price range. And then we move down to first baseman Matt Olson, $3,400. Not the strongest start to the year, averaging just under 9.5 fantasy points on this season. Kind of been up and down throughout the season. Not a lot of power as of yet. So this is one that's kind of more of a gut feeling for me today. Obviously, he does face Eliezer Hernandez, who's been struggling this year, but he is 2 for 5 off him in his career. So I think there's definitely a ton of upside for Matt Olson today. Then we move down to second baseman. I believe you can play him at third base, maybe in first base now. Luis Arraez, $2,900 for the Twins, averaging about 9 fantasy points per game on this season. When you talk about guys that have been relatively consistent as of late, he has 9 fantasy points in 7 out of his last 8 games. So on a day like today where there's not a ton of strong hitters, there's not a ton of value overall, Luis Arraez is going to look pretty good because you have that solid, consistent bat in there who's hitting towards the top of the Twins lineup as well. And then we move down to the outfield with Miles Straw, $2,900, averaging just under 9.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Obviously, the average, not quite where you like it to be, but he always has a chance to steal base. Leading off for Cleveland once again today, going against Elvin Rodriguez, pitcher that I want to take some advantage of today. I think Cleveland has a chance of scoring a bunch of runs. If that happens, Miles Straw is probably part of that today. And then last but not least, we have JD Martinez, $4,000, averaging 12.5 fantasy points per game on the season. When you're talking about guys that have been super consistent as of late, JD Martinez, Luis Arraez, those are probably 2 biggest names at this point in time. So you kind of know what you're going to get with him today. Goes against Bruce Zimmerman and the Baltimore Orioles. 2 for 7 with 1 home run off him in his career, so definitely could be a little bit of upside as well. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players, you'll have exactly $13,000 remaining to spend, just over $3,200 per player. So you could pay up for a couple options, find some value there, but probably going to be a more balanced build today. It's a little bit tougher hitter-wise today on some other slates. There are some pretty good-looking pitching options today, so definitely could mix and match in that area too, but most of them are a little bit more expensive, that $8,800 price tag and above. So it doesn't leave us quite as much for hitters today if you want to pay up for a couple other guys. But like I said, balanced build is probably going to be it today. But with that being said, we'll get over to my top stacks for today. Obviously, I already mentioned that the article is not published yet at the time of this recording, but once it is published, I'll leave that down in the comments below. So the top stacks that I do have for today are the Atlanta Braves going against Eliezer Hernandez. A decent amount of these guys have good history versus him. He has not pitched well so far this season, so this is an easy one. Then we have the Boston Red Sox going against Bruce Zimmerman. Bruce Zimmerman did have a good start to the season. Kind of been a little bit hit or miss since then, but this Red Sox team, these bats have been very, very hot as of late, and I think they have the ability to take advantage of this matchup as well. And then last but not least, I have the Cleveland Guardians going against Alvin Rodriguez. Obviously, it's his second career start. Not much history there. So, usually that's something that favors the pitcher with the no history part. But, second career starter guy that wasn't a super high prospect or anything else like that probably favors Cleveland once again today if their bats can get hot. But with that being said, these are my core picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, May 29th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on today's slate, whether it's someone from my core 5, whether it's someone from my top GPP stacks, or a completely different player that you think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you guys have to say. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS, whether it's MLB or USFL. Those are the two main ones at this point in time. If you're looking for USFL info, I did put a post out on YouTube as well as on Twitter, so definitely be sure to check that out for the USFL DFS for this week. And then with that being said, if you are new or current subscribers yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, I post up daily MLB DFS videos just like this. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.